sir, welcome to our channel and welcome to Kolkata. Kolkata means city of joy and city of culture. So, how was your performance today in Kolkata, Behala Music Festival?
Uh, it was really beautiful. This was my first presentation at Behala Classical Festival, and it's indeed a very celebrated festival uh, which has been, there for so many years. And the beauty is that it has a mix in which I personally believe a mix of young musicians, upcoming musicians, um, young generation established musicians, and at the same time you have the senior musicians. And other part, the music connoisseurs which are there, they are more interested in music rather than the name of the musician. That is very important. It's been my personal, what I would say, an attempt in towards the north side of the country, like Delhi and all, that we should build up this culture, that people come to listen to music, and of course musicians, they have their own followers, following, the fan base, but it shouldn't happen that an upcoming musician on the stage and people decide to come 1 hour later so that they listen to somebody. Excuse me. So I was really happy that the concert which was before my presentation, it was equally, the place where the festival is held, it was equally full. So that's a very good sign about the contribution of the festival that is being done. My congratulations to everybody at Behala Classical Festival for this wonderful work. Otherwise, what normally happens is that people try to avoid, new musicians in their maybe 20s or so, that, who will come to listen to them. It's sad, but I'm really happy. There are more organizations, but here I really love this.
So, my next question will be about your legacy, the legacy of such a illustrious family of musicians. If you would share with our viewers, because most of our viewers are the young generation, if you could talk a little bit about the legacy of the Gharana, Sufiana Gharana, and also growing up, was there a pressure on you to take up music, or it was a natural process for you?
See, I represent the exclusive traditional Santoor family of this country. And Santoor has been in our family, in our tradition, in our Gharana for more than 300 years now. It is actually more than 300 years, but unfortunately, most of our documents, they have been destroyed. In 1947, after the partition, when Pakistan attacked Kashmir in October 1947, to what it is called as the Kabali raid, but the, of course, forces were there. And when they entered Sopor, they very well knew that this particular house is like a cultural center. So they actually destroyed everything there. So anything which was prior to 1947, we lost that. Age-old instruments, our family instruments, documents, our books, everything, photographs and everything. Earlier the photographs would be such, they would kind of paint it or something. So even that got destroyed. Then whatever was left, in 1990, somebody occupied our home, and he destroyed rest of the stuff. So we have lost so much, but yet we know at least the last, 9 generations, in the family. Sufiana Gharana are primarily to what now I call as Sopori Sufiana Gharana, but the traditional name is Sufiana Gharana. So in the Sufiana Gharana or Sopori Sufiana Gharana, Santoor is our main instrument. And we also have the Kashmiri sitar, setar. We have a bowing instrument called Saze-Kashmir. Then we had an instrument which I have just revived almost after 77 years, Vasool. So Vasool used to be there, but it was destroyed again in 1947. So then it was replaced by presently what we call tabla. And in our family, spirituality has been equally at par with music. So they were all musicians, but saints, and saints of very high caliber. They would play music as with the concept of devotion. In Urdu we say, or in Hindi, like bhakti ke liye gana bajana, or only for the God, only for the ultimate energy, because Shaivism talks about Shiva is the energy. And ibadat jo ye hai, through music. So nobody could actually pay them and say perform for us. They were not like that. They would only play and at the same time they had music therapy was a part of the gharana, and the age-old doctors, the hakims and the veds, in their prescription it used to be go to a Pandit like my great-grandfather Pandit, go to Pandit Shankar Pandit ji and listen to, they would also write the pieces, basically, which means even hakims and the veds were well aware of the music system. So they would say, okay, I am performing for a saint, say tomorrow or day after, so come there. And they have had, the results which are, part of Kashmiri history, very well-known music therapists, as I would call them. In fact, I found a reference in a 1919 publication. One of my disciples, she showed me, and it talks about my great-grandfather, giving. It says that the local people said he has music, he has powers in his music and music therapy, and so when you are born in such a family, music comes in a very natural way to you. My grandfather, Pandit Shamboo Nath Sopori, he is hailed as the father of music because he is the one who changed the entire concept of taking music to people. There were musicians from Sufiana tradition, other Sufiana traditions, who were absolutely not happy with the work my grandfather did in taking classical music and music in general, the Sufiana music, to the masses. But my grandfather had this vision. He knew the importance of music, not only for a person from his development point of view, but also the contribution that music and creative arts have in the society. Then, of course, the enormous work of my father, Pandit Bhajan Sopori. So anybody can think, yes, there would have been this family pressure that, you belong to a legacy, so you have to play. But in our family, there is yet another rule. You cannot escape studies, academics, education. And if anybody plans to leave studies and come to music, in our tradition, nobody is going to teach. And same way, when I spoke to my father and I shared with him that I want to take up music as a full-time career, because earlier it was me being I've been a management student. So it was that I'll go in for a job and music will certainly continue side by side. But when I was in my college, very thoughtful decision that I'll take only music as my career. So Papa said, first finish your graduation, then we'll speak about it. And after the graduation, I told Papa, I said, Papa, if I spend 2 years in MBA, it's going to be a total waste of time because I'm not going to pursue that. So then Papa said, okay, fine. And then entire life changes. You know, your hours from maybe 2 hours or 3 hours, suddenly your entire 24 hours run into music. Not necessarily practicing, but your system becomes like that. So it was my choice to take up music, and I always tell people, select a career which is like your hobby, because then you can contribute enormously to yourself, to your family, to your tradition, to your society, to your country, to your planet. Say, for example, we had the COVID times. Musicians, freelancers, mostly, you know, those who don't do jobs. So we didn't have any earning which was coming. But we were generally happy. Even in that chaos, we said, oh, fine, we get more time to do practice. So, you are always happy when you select a career of your choice rather than under the pressures of parents or social pressures, whatever. And so it was my choice, it was the family legacy in mind, it was also the expectation of people. People wanted me to be in music and contribute further, because in our family it's been one generation after the another which has enormously contributed to the lives of people, enormously contributed to the society. And I think that's what people expected from me. And today, after my father, as a representative of this age-old tradition, age-old Gharana, the Parampara, I think my responsibility and my duty has doubled. There are so many students. I have not just to take care of my music, but also them. And so music gives that power.
And next question will be regarding Santoor as instrument. You said it's not a mere instrument, it's a yantra. And you could talk about that,
Sure.
this part of it.
See, Santoor, with all the research that Papa did, and I have also done a formal research. I have submitted my PhD. Santoor is a very different instrument. We find the references of Santoor in Vedas. We find it in the old manuscripts of Kashmir as Shatatantri Veena. And there's another terminology which is used for Santoor, which will, once my PhD is formally awarded, I'll be able to talk more on that. But apart from Shatatantri Veena, there's another term which has been used for Santoor, which takes Santoor almost prior to all other instruments. Now, it's not because I'm a Santoor player, so I want to say that, oh, my instrument is the oldest. It doesn't make any difference. I was sitting with an Iranian musician. We were in China. Wonderful musician, a maestro in his own right. And so we had a little discussion on the origins of Santoor. So I told him, I said, well, let's not get into an argument, because then this instrument is mine. But what difference does it make? You are here to perform, I am here to perform. Let's perform, let's enjoy each other's music. I said, I love your music. You are such a beautiful musician. What difference does it make where Santoor came from at this stage? We really don't need to get to the grade. But Santoor basically is a Shaivite instrument. The Shaivism, we find the roots of Santoor in Shaivism. We find an answer to every question that you'll ask me about Santoor and Shaivism. Now, the shape of the Santoor, it's basically the yantra, the Shri yantra. Now, what is Shri yantra? It's Shiva and the Shakti. What does Shaivism talk about? The Shiva and the Shakti. the upward triangle, the downward triangle, in between you see this horizontal shape. It is the Santoor. And it is not any other dulcimer that you find across the world. It's the Santoor of Kashmir. Now somebody can say, oh, it can be it can be a coincidence that you find a shape between the triangles, you find the horizontal shape. Then you find this answer. Somebody can say, okay, then if these are triangles, then where is the upward triangle of the Santoor? That became the base of the Santoor. So Santoor was kept on a triangular stand, and that triangular stand is exactly the same dimension what is missing on the trapezium shape. So basically, Santoor as an instrument is very powerful, and it was the instrument of Acharya Abhinav Gupta also, to which he used a very special term apart from Shatatantri Veena. He would say this produces the Naad. The impact of the Santoor is also very different. Those saints, because Papa used to perform as a small kid also, initially for a little less time, but gradually as Papa grew up and he could sit down and play for hours together, so he used to play from midnight 12 till 4 o'clock in the morning when you have the sunrise. The saints have said this, that what they normally achieved in their process of meditation in weeks and months, they would achieve the same heights in 4 hours if Santoor was being played. That's the impact of this instrument. Another thing, now this is Adhyatmik, this is spiritual, this is from meditation line. Let's talk about scientific thing. Santoor faces upwards. The only instrument I think in our country, if I'm skipping any other instrument, please pardon me for that. But talking about Santoor, it's like this. The strings are here. When you strike the note, the sound generates upwards. It has an impact on the human being, the musician who is playing it. Because sound is ultimate, Look at any religion, you will find sound in some or the other way, whether that is Gurbani, whether that is Azan, whether that is the sounds of Buddhism culture, whether that is Hinduism, and likewise. You will find sound in some or the other way, whether that is a church bell, whether that is a temple bell. Now look at, if you go to a temple, the bell is right here. The tradition is striking the bell when you are below the bell. You don't strike the bell like this, traditionally. They would say you have to be right under the bell. And when you strike, the vibrations flow like this, okay, because of the shape of the bell. So it hits, the sound hits here. This is the Sahasrara point, the 7th chakra. They say in spirituality, when the Sahasrara opens, the journey of your spiritual line moves in a very different way. Then you dance with the nature. It hits right here. Look at the people who did all the research thousands of years back, and then it has an impact on the entire nervous system. This is the concept of going to a temple, apart from the religious aspect, that you go there in large numbers. The collective energy primarily generated through the sound. So Santoor that way is a very, 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 very advanced instrument. And the masters, the spiritual masters, they knew the importance of Santoor, and it was part of the entire Shaivism culture for thousands and thousands of years. The instrument is not 1000 or 2000 years old. It's more than 3-4,000 years old. About the details, which basically my research work talks about, why I say that it's not 1 or 2,000 years old, but more than that. But at the same time, as I said, it's there in the Vedas. Now, Vedas, not as per the online information. So, because for them everything started, a few thousand years back. But our Vedas were written many centuries back. So Santoor that way is a very different instrument which has deep impact on human nervous system. So that's why we always say that, as it is about music, that music, when I meet children, I say, make music part of your life. You don't have to be a musician, but you should listen to music. It doesn't matter what music you love or you hear. Listen to everything that you love. It could be folk music, it could be light music, it could be Indian music, it could be jazz, it could be Western classical, the European classical. Just listen to music, because that has an impact. It redefines your personality.
I know you're tired after the concert,
No,
so
I'm
but
not.
I'll keep it very short. For the young generation, if they want to pursue, as you said, music or any performing art, your word of advice for them?
Well, to my youngsters, to my uh, fellow countrymen, all the boys and girls, I would say one thing which they would have heard hundreds of times, and I'll still repeat that. There's nothing like shortcut in life. Instant fame through social media can make you a star, not an artist. Overnight, you can become a super hit star. You can never become an artist overnight. Art requires time, patience. You have to dwell into the art form. Unfortunately, many people compare artistry with the number of followers. It doesn't work that way. So there are no shortcuts in life. Any creative art, it should be part of a person. Why we stress on music is because of the sound. Because sound is ultimate. Nad Brahm Aprampa. So all my youngsters, give time to, if you want to get into creative arts or music, any performing arts, give time to your learning. Experience and enjoy the process of learning. With my grandfather and my father, while learning from them, I would just sit with them and learn. The learning was a continuous process. I would even learn something while we were having dinner or while we were out for a walk, because you have to imbibe your tradition, you have to imbibe your guru, you have to absorb the entire tradition and then give your new interpretation. It requires time. If you learn ABCD, you can't write a novel the next year. You will go to cat, bat, dog. Then you will start writing sentences. Then you will start the next level. And finally, the kid who was learning ABCD might become a lecturer, a professor of English literature. It requires 20 years plus time. Then why a shortcut in performing arts? Give time to performing arts and see the magic that happens in life. Again, not necessarily that you have to become a musician. Yes, if you are a musician, you have to give more hours. It's like going for a job. You go to the office at, suppose, say 10 o'clock, and then you are working till 5 or 6 in the evening, official hours. You land up normally giving more hours, but official hours. say 8 to 10 hours of working. So for a musician, then you have to give that much time. But if it's just as a hobby, even 15 minutes, I think one can easily take out the time. And I don't believe in this philosophy that during the days of examination, you can't take out 15 minutes. Yeah, if you don't study, then you have to mug up everything. Still, nothing will happen. So if you study, if you are regular in your studies, in your work, those 15 minutes will give you such energy, such vibes, that your concentration will go to the next level. So performing arts should be any creative arts for that matter, painting, sculpture, music, dance. Again, since sound, so music becomes very different. But I'm sure the youngsters realize this, but at the same time, focus is very important.
Thank you for this wonderful interaction, and we hope to
Thank
see you
you.
more in the city performance.
Thank you so much. Thank you.